It is completely okay to feel mad, frustrated, angry, bitter, cynical, you name it. Around the beginning of fall of last year, I was in this really weird situationship and it only lasted a couple months, but I think the time course of how long it lasted made me kind of minimize the impact that it had on me. And for the longest time, I just didn't want to admit that it did have an effect on me and like my own self-confidence. And mom literally told me this. She's always right, guys. She was like, yeah, that definitely messed you up. And I was like, no, it didn't. No, it didn't. I'm completely fine. Nothing is wrong. Like, I would not allow myself to accept the fact that yes, it did have a bigger impact on me than what I wanted. And what I realized in this is that validation, and especially self-validation, is so important in addressing the emotions that you're feeling. It is completely okay, and it is almost necessary sometimes to allow yourself to completely experience the emotions that you're having. Accept that it's okay that you're having them because you're only human and we have emotions, and be able to recognize these emotions and use them as a marking point for where you can work to start working on what is causing these emotions. Don't let other people invalidate how you're feeling either. One thing that happened a lot too was a lot of people saw that it wasn't anything serious and it was only a couple months, so they're like, oh, it's okay, you'll get over it. Like, what are you so mad about? It's not a big deal. Why are you so bitter? It's not a big deal. Like, it wasn't anything serious. And I think constantly hearing that, and it was almost like gaslighting in a way, made me think that, oh, I'm making a big deal out of this. I'm like exaggerating the problem. I shouldn't be so like caught up on it and hung over on it. And that to me made me repress these emotions so much that I was never able to fully address them. Because I was surrounded by this all of the time, it made me question my own emotions and it made me invalidate my own emotions. I was like, oh, I'm being too dramatic. This isn't a big deal. I need to just move on. And by doing that and not allowing myself to, one, validate these emotions and the experiences that I was feeling, I was always confused as like why I could never get over the issues. I never gave myself that time to validate the emotions, experience them, and not like make myself feel guilty for experiencing them. There's nothing wrong with having emotions, and you shouldn't be blaming yourself for how you're feeling. You shouldn't be relying on what other people are saying to be a gauge of your own emotions. And like on the surface level, I never was like that. I wasn't like, oh, they said this, so therefore I'm gonna think that. But I think subconsciously too, when you're constantly hearing the same thing over and over, you will register that, and it will be something that you incorporate into your own feelings and thought processes. Able to take a step back and look at a certain situation from your own perspective to figure out how you're feeling before you just take in everything that other people are saying too. Always important to get a third perspective, but you are the only person who can know how you feel. Other people haven't gone through the experiences that you have. Like, it didn't happen to them, so they can't be the one to say how you should be feeling. If you experience something and you feel a certain way and you have that certain emotion, that's literally valid. Like, everyone has a different emotion from an experience that they're going through. So who's to say what you're feeling is invalid? One thing that I could not get over for the longest time, I was like, oh, it was a short relationship, nothing like crazy or serious happened. All of these people are saying, oh, it's no big deal, just get over it. It's not like something horrible or bad or traumatic happened to you, but a lot of things that did happen affected my own self-confidence and how I process those things. And it did have an effect on me just because of the person I am. Like, different people will experience different things in different ways and have different emotions. So you can't rely on what other people are saying to be the judge of how you feel and to make you feel bad for feeling a certain way, because everyone is going to have a different experience and will handle it in a different way. Accept the fact that, hey, this might be a minor thing for some people, but for me or other people too, equally, it was a big deal, and it's okay to feel this way. It's okay to feel angry, discouraged, frustrated, like literally it's okay to feel emotions. It is okay to not be okay, because emotions are human, and that is a beautiful thing about being human, being able to feel these emotions. And of course, not all of them are completely positive, but they are indicators for what you're experiencing, and they're indicators that you're literally living life. Important thing is to not dwell on negative emotions. Once you're able to identify these emotions and you're able to accept the fact that you're feeling these emotions, like, hey, I feel angry about this, and that's completely okay. Now I know like what is wrong. I know there's something wrong, and now I can start working on it. And until I allowed myself that permission to validate my own emotions and say, hey, it's okay that I felt this way, and I know I feel this way. It's completely human too, and now I can start working on what I need to do to learn from this experience. If you're wondering why you can't get over a certain situation or experience, maybe you haven't given yourself the proper time to validate your emotions, validate that experience, identify it, accept the fact that you're human and you feel these things, and use this as a point to change, move on, heal, and move forward.